Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grizz podcast with your hosts, Trudeau and D.
What is good? Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grizz. Thank you for joining us today. It's your boy Trudeau, and with me, my co-host D, Frizzy Frizz.
No fumbling of the words. That it came out smooth. Good for you, big dog. Good for you. You wrote it down. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
Phrase before, so I didn't fumble over myself. It was good though. It sounded clean.
I mean, you could have just read off the teleprompter. I would have never known. It sounded good, man. Good shot. Good shit to you. Give credit for you.
I keep thinking of this idea, and I have to do it one of these weeks. Is I want to get Chat GPT to write me like some introduction. See if you can maybe see if you can find the fake.
So I used GPT the wrong way. Like I think you have a better way of what you're saying by using it like that. I just typed in like how do you cook a steak, like things like that, dumb shit that like you can just Google, right?
They Google that shit.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like I'm just not intelligent enough to use Chat GPT the way that like these college kids get to write their like essays and whatnot. We didn't have that shit when I was in school. I had to stay up and go to the library.
Technology is crazy, my man. How many all-nighters did you pull in college, out of curiosity?
Way too many. I remember one specific one where the 25-page analytical report that we had to do for one of the English classes, I didn't do it until like I didn't go to the library to do it until like 10 o'clock that night. And it was due like 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
God, dude.
Yeah. Miserable. Absolutely miserable.
I don't know how we did that to ourselves, man. And
I don't know how we got through it, to tell you the truth.
that school, we both went to UMass Dartmouth, and it looked like a prison. It was all brick everywhere, so it felt like you were in prison and you were there all night.
So one of the better parts too is I'm still kind of connected with a lot of people that still go to the school, and I see this. I'll look at like images on like the website and whatnot, and they've added so much new shit, right? But like it's funny that they keep the camera away from like the dorms where it still looks like a prison. Like they still have the cement buildings for like outside of the Charlton College of Business and whatnot, like the newer buildings when we were leaving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it funny that like, oh wow, the library's dope. It's 3 levels, all this glass and whatnot. And then you look this way, it's like, yeah, but they got prison bars on the mathematics class. What the hell is that?
There's no escape, man. There's no escape.
They can't get out of it.
Shout out to UMass Dartmouth. You know what? For all the joking we did, it was a fine institution. It developed us. So
Absolutely.
Shout out to you. Also, weird shout out to start the show, but shout out to Maryland. I see the numbers. I see the podcast numbers out of nowhere. Maryland, our dogs in Maryland, man. They're eating this shit up. I love it.
MD, baby, MD. I love it.
We got a good show for you today. Probably a lot of NBA. I'm looking at the docket of things we want to talk about. We have trades that went down between last week and this week that we want to touch on. Obviously, the Celtics are involved in some of that. NBA draft happened. And we have NBA free agency starting on Friday. So like it's even though the finals are over, it's like a very busy part of the NBA season still, like the very start of the postseason stuff. I think in the next couple weeks we'll start gearing ourselves up for NFL as training camp starts to get into the swing of things, and maybe we'll touch on baseball at some point over the summer. Who knows?
Yeah, for those that are waiting for us to talk baseball, I'm telling you, I'm trying my hardest to watch a game or two, like, and follow some type of storylines. I just can't. It's not easy for me by any means. I've watched more baseball games to start the summer than like I have my entire life, which is like 10. But like we still got a long ways to go. Like playoffs go all the way to like October, right? If I'm correct.
Oktoberfest, yeah.
Yeah, we have another 4.5, 5 months of baseball. So we'll get into little bits. The Yankees still suck. What up, PJ? Oh, sorry. I think that's kid from New York. Sorry. Yeah, I know the name, but his name is different on the GBA league. It's not that. It's Buff. Sorry, Buff 2K guy. My apologies.
Appreciate you and PJ in the chat. Good to see a new face on the show. So we'll have a good show today. Before we get into like the sports stuff, I wanted to get your opinion on this because we were talking before the show. You mentioned something. I'm like, I'm curious what D would do. So this weekend I went fishing, but I did ocean fishing, and I was on my neighbor's boat, and it's not a very big boat. It's like I'm not trying to shit in the boat. It's like just like the metal piece, a bench, essentially the metal boat. It's not like this elaborate $100,000 boat. And we were in like deep ass ocean water, like 10 p.m. midnight. Would you be down for some ocean fishing, or is that too crazy for you?
Negative. As soon as you said, "Well, there was a boat," nope, I'm good. I don't mess with the ocean. I lived in Florida long enough to be able to see what's in the ocean. It's good because you can see it, but it's awful because you can see it at the same time, and you're just going farther and farther out. No, thank you. Like, I'm not going to turn a somber note as to what we just learned about news wise and whatnot. But like, there's just so much shit that goes on in the water. I'll stick to the pool. I don't like to fish. No, thank you. I keep my feet in the sand. If I go to the beach, I don't need to go, knee deep and see what's going on out there. No, thank you.
All right, so you're not going to go fishing with me.
No, not a chance. You could offer it, and I'd say no. You couldn't pay me to go fishing, unless it's like on a bridge above water. Yeah, but like I'm not going on no boat to go fishing. No, thank you.
All right, let's get this thing on. Appreciate seeing you all live though. Love it, love it. All right, first NBA thing we want to touch on was all the trade stuff. Even though some of it's kind of stale at this point, it's unfortunate that it broke. I think Thursday, Friday last week. So we're at Tuesday. It's just the way we schedule our recordings. I think the biggest one we want to talk about. Well, yeah, let's talk about the first piece with the Wizards, Celtics, Grizzlies trade, because I think you and me both had very different opinions on this trade.
Yeah, so it was the original trade first too. So Boston had traded or attempted to trade.
They were trying to get the Clippers.
No. They were trying to get Porzingis, but they were trading the backup point guard. Sorry, I can't remember his name. Brogdon. Yep, Malcolm Brogdon. And like they're not saying that it went through, but like essentially it was this is the rumored trade for it to be accepted. And then it like fell through, and like there was Instagram and Facebook posts saying like rejected or like fell through, like all these headlines to make people like freak out. And in less than 24 hours, they're like, it's back on again. We wanted Porzingis so bad, we're gonna give you Marcus Smart this time. And I was like, wait a minute. I've been a big advocate against how Marcus Smart like tears up the team and whatnot for the Celtics. I just don't think that they got better with that trade with what they gave up. And Marcus Smart, granted, I know he's, washed up, defensive player of the year. I hate that award that he got for it. I don't think it was real, but
he was
washed up defensive player of the year award is what I'm saying. Like that, that was a pity award that they gave to him. I don't think that he's the best defensive player in the league. But what I'm saying is they got somebody that is just another replica of what they already have, a stretch four. They had it in Muscala. They had it in Al Horford, and they got now Porzingis. He's not a defensive presence. He doesn't stop anybody in the interior. And if you think you're going to play through the post with him, they need people to pass the ball around, not another ball stopper. And that's what Porzingis can do. He's a good scorer, right? But like the team doesn't need scoring. The team needs defensive and playmaking, and they didn't get it. They got rid of it by getting rid of their best passer and self-proclaimed their best defender. So I don't understand how that's a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, right? Like they definitely downgraded on the playmaking thing, and that's something they could have used. They addressed one need and created another at the same time, right? Because I disagree with the fact that they have that skill set now. If you watch the Celtics toward the postseason, dude, Al Horford's washed. I'm sorry. He's what, 36, 37 at this point. He's old.
Yeah.
You can't count on Time Lord to be there. And
really?
What do you mean?
Sorry. No, it's not just you. It's not just you. A lot of other people that have said, oh, no, when he gets back, he'll be healthy. That's a big shout to my Boston Celtics fans. Not a big FU yet, but yes, I'm glad that you said that you can't count on Rob to be.
I mean, that's just a no. I think I'm in plenty of group chats with Celtics fans. And honestly, for the past 2 years, all I've seen in my group chats on a night that they lose, there's 98 missed messages, and it's all about how they have no bigs and they don't rebound the ball. So I understand getting Porzingis, who's like 7'3", 7'2".
Yeah, he's up there.
He can get boards. He can score for you. They're going to have a hell of a lot of scoring. Obviously, with Marcus Smart being gone, the defense is going to suffer. And then I don't know who's going to be their primary playmaker at this point. They toyed with Tatum as like a point forward. I'm guessing that's what you see more of. God knows Jaylen Brown, you can't trust the ball. But it's interesting. I don't think it's the last move by the Celtics. I'm actually more curious what you think about the Grizzlies, because I love this for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move for the Grizzlies. No pun intended, but definitely pun intended. But Give me the laugh.
There's so many sounds, man.
There we go. No, I think it was a good move. Again, I have my grievances with Marcus Smart, but I think he's the perfect fit because they're not losing. They're getting rid of Dylan Brooks. They're not losing Dylan Brooks. They're shipping him. If I had the Ari Gold sound, get the fuck out like that from Entourage. Yes, that's what they did. Don't let the doorknob hit you with a good Lord split you.
I wish I knew who said it, but someone said the Grizzlies are getting what Dylan Brooks thought Dylan Brooks was.
It's so true. And like, he's not a head case. No, I know that he wanted to be the team leader, the team captain in Boston, but like, he is the veteran presence that I talked about midseason that Memphis needed. Yeah. So like, I'll give it to him saying that I think if there's a winner, I hate winners and losers out of trades, but like, if there is a winner, Memphis won this one. Like they got another playmaker for Ja when he gets back post suspension. Marcus will be able to get you that 15 to 25. I know that's a wide range, but like good nights when he's at the 25, it's going to help scoring, obviously. Bad nights when he's closer to 15, he's going to be able to facilitate and slow down one of the better scorers on the opposing team. So like he's going to add a lot of value to try to get this team to what you had mentioned around Christmas when Ja comes back, and it's going to make him definitely a formidable, I would say, opponent for everyone come playoff time.
Well, I think too for the Grizzlies, obviously you just mentioned Ja's like gone for that time. You have like a legit starting point guard to fill in there, but also the Grizzlies have what has been their knock for the past few years is like they're immature. Mm-hmm. Like they are crowning themselves Western Conference champions beginning of the season, and everything just implodes to them. And like, for all Marcus Smart's weaknesses, people will complain that he statistically is just a poor shooter and makes boneheaded plays. And the numbers don't love Marcus Smart, but what he does intangibles, like like you got your guy in 2K and then like intangibles. I don't know what. Side note: what does intangibles do on 2K?
It really, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with potential and overall. I have no idea.
But if you had Marcus Smart on intangible rating, it's 99. Yeah, it's 99 because like. He's just doing the little things. He's holding people accountable. And I think just like the leadership, the Celtics, I don't know who the leader is in the Celtics anymore. Well, Marcus Smart was that leader, and people said, oh, if he's your leader, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. That's more on Tatum and Brown. But the Grizzlies desperately need some maturity, leadership. Marcus Smart's that guy. He's going to hold people accountable. And just like defensively, you have the 2022 Depoy and the 2023 Depoy on the same team. Yeah. I really love this Grizzlies team. I do think I'm curious, like what you think. I'm just surprised the price to be paid for Marcus Smart was so high. They gave up Tyus Jones and 2 first-round picks. They gave up the 25th overall this year, which the Celtics ended up by not using, and Golden State's first-round pick next year. Granted, those are probably 2 low picks, but still, I didn't think Marcus Smart's value was that high.
NBA trades are so strange when it comes to value and whatnot. Like one player can go for 4 or 5 first-round picks, and then another player can go for 2, like in this one, and then another trade that we'll talk about with Atlanta that happened can go for none. So like I don't get it. It's more or less like what can you offer just to make the deal sweeter. 2 first-round picks, 1 from Golden State and 1 from their own. I really don't think that's like Memphis isn't playing to be in the lottery. So do they care about those picks? No. Is anybody coming from the draft going to help out Ja Morant in his prime? No. So like, I don't think they really care about those.
Plus, if you look at Memphis, they're actually a very deep team. They have a lot of developmental projects already. They don't have a aging roster that they need to replenish young talent. I'm sure that they don't need to make those picks, right? It's just going to waste. You're putting a guy pretty much on a 2-way contract, drafting him that late. Might as well make the move, get that veteran leadership. I actually love this kind of I think I like this trade more for the Wizards and Grizzlies more than I like it for the Celtics, which is weird to say. Just a side note, if the Celtics did that original trade and got rid of Brogdon instead, I would have loved it for the Celtics if that happened. I hate seeing Smart go, especially since I'm in New England. I go to Celtics games. Smart's one of my favorite players just because the way he plays. It's sad. It's a sad time for Celtics fans. But the Wizards, KP was going to be gone anyways. Mm-hmm. Essentially, he wanted out, and he could have opted out of that contract. They get Tyus Jones and a late second-round pick and a couple cap filler guys. They pretty much got something from nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you give up. You're gonna, like you said, you're gonna lose Porzingis anyways. So you might as well just capitalize on whatever you can, and hopefully you hit with. I'm not saying people are gonna find a Jokic and Draymond in the draft every single year, but you just hope you find somebody that's a starter for 5 to 10 years in the second round. A Kyle Kuzma, right? Like he's essentially he's a starter on basically every NBA team, being a late first rounder, second rounder. Big point too by Hip Hop Anonymous. I appreciate you being back too. I read something that was actually kind of funny, saying that Marcus Smart is essentially doing exactly what Tony Allen did, which was get drafted. Go to Oklahoma State, get drafted by the Celtics, play your ass off on defense, get traded to Memphis. He's like following in the exact same steps. I mean, Tony Allen goes down as one of the best perimeter lockdown defenders like in the game. Hall of Famer. I don't know. But I know Marcus Smart, if he got a championship, he now has the accolades for it to be eligible for it. I don't know if like Memphis, this puts them in that like championship era yet. They still got a lot of learning. And even with the trade with Marcus Smart, Ja's got to come back and like be on one in order for them to like make up for any lost ground, because that West is strong.
Yeah. Speaking on the Wiz, so like we talked about this half of the trade, they were very active. We talked last week about the first move, right, to trade out of Bradley Beal. They get CP3, and then between last week's recording and this week's recording, they made that secondary move, which you were pissed off about, to trade CP3 again to the Warriors.
Yeah,
and,
I did. Oh, go ahead. Okay.
No, I said the confusion was that you're like, how can you trade a dude twice? Because like if you play 2K, it doesn't let you. And I was explaining that technically the trade isn't finalized until it goes through the approval process. So it's just like it becomes a 3-way trade at this point.
It's bullshit. It's a terrible loophole. I don't like it. Because I can't do it in damn video games. They tell me, nope, you just traded for him. You can't trade him again for like 75 days. I'm like, that's stupid. If I want to get rid of him, I should be able to get rid of him. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like lost with how this one is going to work out. Does Golden State need another ball handler? Yeah. Did they need to get rid of Poole? Absolutely. Like not just contract wise, but like fit. We saw him go from being, a bona fide starter to like a glorified bench player to like no minutes in the playoffs, just because like it just wasn't good for them. He was shooting terrible. He couldn't play defense. We know he can score, but like it's a volume type scorer. So you get rid of him, you clear up some area, you put Clay back at the 3, because you're not going to have Chris Paul come off the bench. So you're going to be able to have, Steph Curry. There's no way Chris Paul's coming off the bench. There's no chance. I see them doing Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Clay, Dre, and then they find a fifth that's gonna step up.
My understanding of the situation is that it's likely that he will play more minutes, like most of the minutes that Steph's off of the court. So like, I think he'll come off the bench, maybe be the first guy off the bench, overlap a little bit with Steph, and then when Steph gets out, he'll just be there primarily. I don't see the fit if he's on the court with Steph and Dray. Like if let's say Draymond comes back, him, Draymond, and like a Looney with Steph and Clay as your starting 5. That
so sounds weird.
Bad. That's bad from a stretching, like shooting perspective.
Yeah, it's no defense either on that. Limited defense.
I like the trade for both teams because both teams got what they wanted to get done. The Warriors obviously made a huge mistake with Jordan Poole. They gave him 4 for 100, 4 for 120. I forget what the number is, but
it's right around 25 a year.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of money. He barely could be played to the playoffs. He wasn't bad in the regular season, just to be clear. He was okay.
Pivotal part too. I don't want me to cut you off, but like I don't want to make it sound like I'm a Jordan Poole hater. Pivotal part for them winning their championship 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
like he was huge. It's just we saw him play himself out of the rotation, and you look back on the contract, and you're like, is it worth it? No, right now, unfortunately, hindsight's 2020.
I think the move to trade away Jordan Poole was more for not next year, but the year after, because once that new CBA is done and they have that lead apron where like the second level of luxury tax, like if you're above that, you're just fucked. Like there's no way around it. Trade away Jordan Poole. Now CP3 is on an expiring contract. The year after next, that money's going to be off the books. So like if you do extend Draymond which now that kind of tells me they're going to extend Draymond. You're not going to be paying 4 dudes like a combined $150 million. Like you're cutting a ton of salary to make it work in the future. So I think for the Warriors, they're just trying to clear some cap room up. For the Wizards, they got a 2030 first round pick, top 20 protected though. So like that's not doing much for you. They got a second round pick in Jordan Poole. For the Wizards, it's like you didn't want CP3 anyways, and you got in return maybe a first round draft pick, but more importantly, Jordan Poole was in consideration for 6th man of the year 2 years ago. Maybe he finds some of that mojo. Maybe, honestly, maybe he looks great with the Wizards. His value goes up a little more, and then the Wizards could flip him again for a first round pick somewhere.
Yeah, I said it off show or pre-show that I think he's going to do throwback name like a Devin Harris. He's going to get you like 25 plus points per game and fringe all-star. And people are going to forget, oh, wow, like, yeah, he is an NBA champion. Like, he can score like this. Like, I don't think we're ever going to forget about the punch, but, like, we'll forget about, like, the issues that ended, in Golden State when they had a chance to, repeat. But, it got killed, unfortunately, with LA. I think he'll be okay. He'll get his buckets. He's going to put up points. Will they be a playoff team? Nope. They're still going to do the same thing that they have been with Beal. So that's the tough part, is just knowing, hey, you're going there and just, score and then get ready for the next game, because you really ain't doing nothing else for the rest of your career.
I mean, I'm sure he's happy. He got a ring. Like I said, he got paid. Now it's just his time to shine. Like, this is the one thing he has never had in his career.
Yep.
It's just to be like that dude and shine. So maybe he's going to love it in DC, just being able to ball. Who knows? And then the last thing, what do you think about John Collins? Was that today?
That was
yesterday.
2 days ago. Yeah, yesterday. I hate it. I mean, I know you have a theory, so I'm anxious or curious to hear what yours is behind it. And I read something from somebody that wrote it on social media saying, this is why we should only pay superstars, because when you overpay stars, all you have to do is sit and wait and you'll get one, because people they have to get rid of them. They can't pay everyone. And like John Collins for me was huge with getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 or 3 seasons ago. He's always up there for best defensive player. He's a stretch big that a lot of teams need. He can literally defend the 1 through 5. And then you traded him away for Rudy Gay. Like, I just don't understand how that makes you better as a team. It doesn't. But I know you have some curious or weird theory that it's the trade before the trade. I'm just looking to see what's out there for it to be the trade before the trade.
Well, the first thing is I disagree with that. You don't pay stars thing. You only play superstars. And this is why. And again, I think fans of any sport will complain no matter what. They want everything to be perfect all the time. Mm-hmm. I've heard so many times when players leave in free agency, well, how did you let that guy walk for nothing? You couldn't sign and trade. You couldn't like sign him and then trade him later or something. And like with John Collins, it was basically like, hey, he's going to walk. Are we just going to let him walk and get nothing out of it? No, we should probably sign him and maybe try to trade him later. They've been trying to trade him for years. Like, that was the game plan. Sign him and then flip him, and it never happened. They got Rudy Gay in a second. Honestly, to me, this isn't about what they got in return. Like, Rudy Gay, I didn't even know Rudy Gay played in the league.
That's what I'm saying. If you'd have ran his name for that, is he here or not? That segment that we ran a couple weeks ago, I'm like, no, he's not in the league. Wow, I didn't know he still played.
That trade, like,
oh boy.
When I saw that trade, I went immediate Brian Windhorst is like, why is that? What I thought was interesting was like Woj's tweet about it. He specifically wrote in it that this trade for John Collins creates a $25 million trade exception for the Atlanta Hawks, which is the largest trade exception in the NBA.
Huge.
So, to me, like, the Hawks are just the weirdest team because they have assets all the time. They got players, they got picks. It's like, what are they going to do with this trade exception? They can absorb a massive salary now. I don't know if it's going to be. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, for those that may not, I know what it is, but those that do not know what a trade exception is, I was going to say, could you just explain it real quick?
So I'll explain. So basically, like, when you trade players, and you're above this, let's say both teams are above the salary cap, right? Or like your team's above the salary cap, you have to trade away an equal amount of salary and take back the same amount of salary. So like you can't trade away a guy for 10 million and then absorb 20 million if you're over the cap. That's a no. It's against the league rules. If you have a trade exception, let's say I have a $10 million trade exception, a $10 million player, and I want to take back a $20 million player, I could pair that $10 million exception with the $10 million player to equal $20 million, and we're all good in the hood. Everything adds up. So in theory, if the Hawks have a Clint Capella making $25 million and they have a $25 million trade exception, they can absorb a player up to $50 million.
$50 million? What do you think this is, Chelsea Cotta?
Which would be the the highest super max. So I'm not trying to like suggest that like that's a Dame Lillard situation, because I know his name is hot in the streets. But I just think it's interesting that they would make that trade. Like when I saw it, I don't know what the end game is for the Hawks, but it's like they're thinking something. Free agency starts in a few days. They're thinking something. I don't know what it is. The one caveat with the trade exception is it lasts for 1 full year. So they can hold on to this till the deadline. They can hold on to this till like the very end of next year, the draft. So they might not use it right away. But I don't know, man. It's just fishy. It's just fishy to me.
I think I could be wrong, but I think the last team that got multiple trade exceptions didn't use them was Boston a couple. Okay. Yeah, because like that was a big thing. Was like, hey, they got these picks, they got assets, they got exceptions. We can go from not having anything to trading away, James Naismith. No, it's not, whatever his name is. Yeah, Naismith, but it's not James. James Naismith is the guy that created basketball. Aaron Naismith. We could trade away Aaron Naismith and get Kevin Durant. Like that's the type of thing that
if you got James Naismith, you keep him. You don't trade him away.
That brother created basketball with a weaved basket and a football with laces on it. He just made it circular. Imagine shooting free throws with that. That'd be weird. Like you put your fingers in the laces,
the loops. Yeah.
It was laces.
The shitty thing was you had to get the ball yourself out of the basket. There's no nets. So it was a peach basket. It was the first basket.
So it just caught it. I thought they cut a hole at the bottom.
No, the first version of the basketball hoop was literally just a peach basket on like on a wall.
Did they set it at 10 feet or did they like make it 8 so everybody could get dunked on?
It was a bunch of white people. They probably had it. They ain't jumping.
They didn't know what dunking was, to come to think about it, until, Wilt Chamberlain came in and they were like, wait a minit. Hey, man, you can't be doing what you're doing because we can't do that. So you're not allowed to do that because we can't do it.
That reminds me of the scene in you watch Semi-Pro?
Bits and pieces, not the full.
The Flint Tropics, and Will Ferrell's character has like a dream, and in his dream, like someone's mama tells him about the alley-oop, and no one has ever heard of the alley-oop, and they're like down 50 points in the game, and they just throw it to the guy, and he dunks it. Everyone's like, wait, what? I just imagine that the first dunk just like, what the fuck?
I've seen those like loops. I know we'll go down a rabbit hole in this one, but I've seen those loops on like random things that happen and who was around to watch it. I watched one, I think it was yesterday, of the guy that did the Nene first, of like him and his boys, like all like, watching TV, and he's like walking down the hallway and he trips on a soccer ball and he goes, and everybody's like, wait a minute, do that again. And he's like, it's just imagine like everybody freaking out like, yo, that is dope, yo, do that. 10 years later, little kids are like, like it's just weird, man. It's crazy.
We gotta like spend some time, find some origins of different things for sure.
Big fan.
Yeah, hopefully, we have the deadlines coming up this week, and hopefully there's probably more trades and more news, but let's just touch on the draft right quick.
You got it.
I don't personally have a ton on the draft. I did want to talk about the Shams thing, which you're unaware of, but like, what was your overall takeaway from the draft? Anything excite you?
I mean, it went according to plan, according to what the experts say. I know that there was a little bit of a I would say curveball with the Brandon Miller, going to Charlotte instead of Scoot, but everything went according to plan. We said that it was going to be those 5 in the top 5, so like I'm not surprised by any means. Do I think that there were some winners and losers out of it? Yeah, I think tough area for Brandon to be in right now. I said it to you. I hate the fact that this kid balled out for his entire life. He plays AAU, he plays private, he goes to college, he does the right thing. He plays for Alabama, and then he gets booed on draft night. I hate that because it's like, what did he do besides put himself in a position to be an NBA player? And like now he's got to go to a franchise that sucks. Again, I live here in North Carolina. They suck. They're terrible. They're miserable. I know Jordan's out the door. I said he was going to mess up with this one. I don't think he did. I think Brandon Miller's a good choice. I just don't understand that he's got to now play for that team that people booed him, and then they're like, "Yo, man, if you suck, we knew it. But if you're good, all right, whatever." And it's like, no, you motherfuckers, just Charlotte Hornets. Like, be happy that you got the number 2 pick because LaMelo. I hate to break. Yeah, go ahead.
Is Michael Kidd-Gilchrist all over again?
Don't say that. Don't throw that hex. Don't throw that curse on him, man. That ugly ass jump shot, bro. Don't do that though. Don't throw that hex on him. He's much more talented.
Adam
He's
Morrison
a better shooter.
all over again.
Adam Morrison wasn't a lottery pick.
I think he was a top 3 pick.
Morrison
picked 3rd over, I believe.
No,
I'm pretty sure he was picked top 3.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Ugh.
Yeah, that was a bad pick.
I mean, he got a championship. He was on the bench from Kobe championships in LA. So I'll give him that. Adam Morrison got his thing. Did his thing.
I was just gonna say, going into this season of college hoops, Scoot Henderson was thought of as the number 2 pick. Like, hands down. Are you looking up Adam Morrison right now?
No, I wasn't, but I will.
Look up for me because I want to get into a little something with this. And dude, like, if you're a fan of the Hornets, Michael Jordan's fucked this up so many times for you. I mean, he's the reason why you guys are in the gutter, like, legit. And we all know that Scoot has that high ceiling. Brandon Miller, he had a good college season, like, great. He had some off the court shit to worry about as well. I don't know, man. I understand the frustration if you're a Charlotte fan. Even Hugo the Hornet was upset. Did you see the video of Hugo the Hornet when they announced the pick? Just goes,
yeah, bro, that's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Morrison was number 3, though. You're right.
I was right. Yeah, I don't know why I knew that number 3 overall. Again, MJ, man. Other draft stuff, as a Magic fan, I hated my draft.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because I actually wrote, and that wasn't even on purpose. I wrote, unfortunately, that they were on the side of the L's.
Yeah,
they didn't. You got 2 top 15 picks. You didn't do anything with it, like to get like a splash name. I would have thought that you would have tried to move into that top. I know you had the 6, but like,
yeah,
you can find a suitor for the number 5 pick. We'd can
go back. Like, we'd have to trade out. I don't think it was feasible to trade up. Detroit was supposedly shopping their pick at number, was they 5?
They had 5.
They were supposedly shopping 5. They didn't trade it, so clearly the offers weren't good enough. To me, like, it was a tier draft. Number 1 was like the greatest thing ever. 2 and 3 was a second tier. Then the third tier were the 2 twins at 4 and 5. And then after that, just like blah. So like we literally had the 6th pick in a draft that, like, after 5, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah. I mean, there was still some value. I think some of the things I took away from it. The Pacers had 3 picks. Not saying that they're all going to hit, but like, it's to be in the first round of the NBA draft to get 3 opportunities. I think that's a decent throw at the board and hope one of them sticks. You know what I'm saying? I think the Rockets, that was the team that I said that they got a sleeper on. It was like Cam Whitmore.
I don't know what happened with that. He was projected like top 6-ish.
Yeah, they got him 17 or something.
I guess it's some injury potential. There's some potential like injury concern with him, so he slipped super far. You're getting him at number 20 though. I mean, why not?
20. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, to get a top 10 essentially lottery pick, even if you got him,
he was
15,
maybe going top 5.
Yeah. So I think that's a big dub for them. And they're brewing together something, right? They have Jalen Green. Their average starting age is like less than 22 years old. So like, if they can be the baby OKC Thunder, they can't even say baby. Like, OKC Thunder did it twice. They did it with Durant, Harden, and Westbrook, and then they just did it this year with Shea, Giddey, and I know there was a Dort. And then they're getting Chet Ubetcha, huh? And Jalen Williams, yeah. But they're getting Chet Ubetcha back next season. So like, they'll have a core of young players, and I'm not saying that Houston's going to go automatically to the top, but like they got Ime, they got some. I mean, look, I'm not saying they're going to be Western Conference contenders. I'm just saying they're building what you're supposed to build.
I understand the process and what you're saying. I'm out on Houston just because like they lack maturity, they lack organization.
They got Ime.
They don't.
They
have
got Udoka,
who got kicked out of Boston for
for sleeping with the boss's wife.
That's great.
But look what he did. He brought the same immature team. I'm now defending the Celtics. He brought that immature team to the finals. I'm not even expecting him to go to the finals and for Houston. I'm just saying he can fix some maturity. He's not going to teach them how to be a moral person and learn to not sleep with the boss's wife. He's not going to teach them that infidelity, but he can teach them how to play basketball and be mature on the court. That's what he can do.
To clarify and be clear about something, he did not sleep with Brad Stevens' wife.
No, the boss's daughter. We're talking about like the dude that owns what's his name, Wick something.
Oh, is that like legit what happened?
I mean,
are you saying that? Are you reporting this?
I'm not a reporter. I'm not an analyst. I know rumors, and I listen to a lot of rumors that I think are hilarious. And this one is one of them, in which I think the boy slipped up with Wick's wife, and was like, I have Nia, but I get her. Dumb, but that's his
another conversation.
Yeah.
No, that's just I just disagreed with the comparison just because I trust OKC's organization more. Just to be clear, I liked Orlando's first pick at 6 with that black kid. Like don't
say it like that. Get his name right.
Not the color of his skin. Like his last name is literally black.
Okay.
I forget his first name. His last name is Black.
I gotta look to save you because I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good.
That sounded terrible. No, I wasn't referring.
Yeah, Anthony Black is his name. Black.
Yes. When I meant that black kid, I meant Anthony Black. Just like that Holmgren kid or whatever. Like I meant Anthony Black. I like him. They had 12 or 11, I think. They picked a guy who was like projected like 27, 30, which is mind-boggling. They got Juwan Howard's kid.
Yep.
Jet Howard.
Jet Howard.
With 2 T's. So I don't know if I trust that. But we'll see.
I think, and I'll just wrap it up. We don't really have much to draft after this one, right? After this,
I want to mention the Shams thing really quick.
Yeah, I guess real quick too. Just because we're a network we're a show that we like to talk about our favorite teams, we'll talk about the Lakers. I think, although I didn't watch obviously much of Indiana basketball, I think his name is Jalen Hood Shifiano. 6'5" two-way combo guard with 6'11" wingspan. Very, very similar to when they drafted Caruso, is all I'm saying. And Caruso, we saw what he became.
The white kid?
Yeah, the ball dude. He was one of the best perimeter defenders on that team when they made their championship run. He's one of the best defensive playmakers in Chicago right now. So not saying that the numbers 21 pick is going to be the rookie of the year, but I think that's a good pick for the Lakers for where they're at. Get yourself a point guard that can play defense. He put up 26 points per game in specific, conference play games. So he can score. Now let's see what they can actually develop him into.
Speaking of rookie of the year, I put money on
Scoop,
Big Slim Victor.
Question about that. 2 things about Wembanyama. Who's your mama? First is, does Chet You Betcha get the Ben Simmons treatment?
Yeah.
And he does. So I wouldn't have any problem with putting some bread down on Chet Holmgren winning Rookie of the Year versus Victor, because they've already said that they're not going to overextend Wembanyama because the season is 82 games. So he flirts with play. I know he'll play.
I saw a report today that
he flirts with that 65 game minimum.
No, he met with the Spurs brass, and he made it very clear that his goal this year is to play as many games as possible. Okay. I guess what Victor wants to
play. Yeah, he's got it. I don't know if you listen to his interviews, but boy, a grown ass man.
Serious about balling.
He's a grown ass man at 18 years old. He's set.
The only thing I would disagree on Chet is as far as his Rookie of the Year odds, I think his usage rate is going to be too low to really be thrown to the top of that ranking, because you're going to have SJ getting most of the burn. You got Giddey. You have Jalen Williams. I just think
Chet's the center. You just named
Right.
all guards and wings.
Usage rate is like how many shots is he going to get and opportunities. Like I think he's going to probably average like
18 and 12.
No,
The man is 7'10". He's just gonna get offensive rebounds and put the ball up. Okay.
He's not 7'10". I will tell you that right now. He'd be the tallest man in the world at 7'10". I mean, Victor of all the rookies will get the most usage. Maybe if Dame gets traded, Scoot could have a case like usage wise, but at this point, it seems like Dame's gonna stay.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a move that was going to be made, I feel like it would have been done by now. But all doors are not closed when it comes to him, because I don't know if he tried to one up him, but he's like, yeah, since 0 is taken, I guess I'll take 0. And it's like, come on, man. Like,
can I mention the Sean thing real quick?
Yeah. I know you want to hit on that.
So like going into the draft, right? What was it Woj? Woj was like, yeah, the Hornets are narrowing in on Brandon Miller and whatever. And like, you can see the sports books odds like -200, and then it went to like -300 for Brandon Miller, -400. Like he's like heavy favorite from the whole week of the draft up until 2 days. And then Shams sends a tweet saying, oh, the Hornets are like very interested in focusing on Scoot Henderson. And the odds flip from like Scoot being like +400 to being -900 that day. So like people are throwing money at Scoot. Then the very next day, we'll just like, nah, like that's not happening. Like, Brandon Miller, and the odds flip back. And obviously we know Brandon Miller went. So like that one Shams tweet flipped the odds by like humongous. Like I'm talking like odds that are like locks, like
you said +900 to
And the thing that is, I'm not saying people are suggesting he's doing things sinisterly, but he has a working relationship and partnership with FanDuel. Which is like, we're getting to icky waters here, because like if you're
reporting the info,
sending out tweets that are significantly shifting gambling lines, and you work for like, he doesn't work directly for them, but again, he has a partnership with FanDuel. But if like, it becomes, you're just making people distrust the gambling game by doing shit like that. It's bad news, man.
That's not good at all. I'm not even a gambler, and I feel like that's like insider information, insider trader information. Like you leak something to get influence. Who did that? Was one of the Kardashians a year or so ago, maybe a couple of years ago, like they mentioned a product that they had a partnership with. It was a shitty product.
The stock
raised up the stock, and then like we're like, all right, we're out. And it was like, and then they made their bread and then dipped, and then everything went down. And it's just like they use their influence. Well, I'm not saying they did. I don't even know if it was them. I just know it was somebody above that, about that like life. Where Shams, same thing. You're able to use your influence to make something happen monetary wise, and then just be like, no, I'm good. And it's like, that's like you said, icky water. If that's a real thing.
To be fair, like I don't think people should be betting based on these tweets. Right.
Yeah, but people gonna spend their money on it, bro.
Yeah, betting on the draft's dumb as hell anyways. But at the same time, like it just becomes icky when you're like you get money from them.
You influence.
Right. Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting thing. D, hit him up, my man.
My song.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
Whew, back again, back like we never left. Oh, back at it for the Frizz's 5. But hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right. We're going to do some type of remix here. I'm going to actually pass this one off to my boy Trudeau. He said he's got himself a 5. So we're going to let him do his list. Let me see if I agree with it, or if y'all that are listening tomorrow agree with it, y'all listening live agree with it. I want to give him the opportunity to float up something that's been on his mind. Trudeau, what you been thinking?
First of all, I got an idea for if we switch this up and I do a 5. You know, like that's like it's time for like it's all production. I want you to just be like Trudeau's, just be like it's time for Trudeau's 5. Like,
well, we can't.
It's over it.
It took me a while to be phonetically or whatever the word is to keep using the same letter, like HHH beginning words. Frizz is 5. I don't know what that is. It's alliteration. Maybe it's alliteration. It took me a very long time to think of that phrase, Frizz is 5. So you can't have yours be Trudeau's 5. Like it doesn't flow. You do have truth tellers with Trudeau, but like for this, you gotta have a replacement, bro. Like it can't be.
Oh no. That's what makes it great. It's just like a cheap knockoff where it's just like it's time for Trudeau's 5.
Trudeau's 5.
I got a vision. So yeah, I was inspired. I don't want to give too much away. I was inspired by something going on in my neighborhood this past week, and I was like, damn, that's just like so overrated. Like, why do people go to that and do that like thing? And it's on my list. And I wanted to have top 5 most overrated activities. So activities people like love to do, yearn for it. I'm just like, what for? But why?
I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's a hater list.
I'll see where you go, and then it'll allow me to pick my 5 because I'll rip it off just like you have, like you typically do.
To be fair, I felt pretty generous. I couldn't find a strong 5 hater. So like my last one, I feel okay about, but I'm not super passionate about. Last one, number 5. Oh, all you can eat buffets.
Ooh.
Overrated. And here's why. You leave feeling like shit no matter what because you try to get your money's worth. At the end of the day, you're spending $40 and probably eating $20 worth of food, and you're just gorging yourself, not even enjoying shit. Spend the $40 that you're going to go for all you can eat buffet. Buy yourself a real nice meal and just enjoy it like a normal human being. I'm out on all you can eat buffets, man. I think it's just a waste, and it's just like the epitome of America. We are all fat as fuck, just gorging our face. Overrated.
So I'm with you with it being overrated. I just got a question. Where the hell are you going eating a $40 buffet? Because Old Country Buffet is like $9.99, or like the Chinese buffet is like $5.99. So what buffet are you eating at that's $40?
You're getting some serious diarrhea from that Old Country Buffet.
Absolutely. But like I ain't going, if I'm spending $40 on buffet, I better be getting steak and lobster. Like it's not chicken fingers and French fries.
Did I tell you that when I went to Vegas, we paid for a $80 buffet?
No.
$80 buffet. It's the like, and I'm saying buffets are overrated activity. It's like the highest rated buffet.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. Lobster tails, oyster, crab. I had to do it for the experience, but I mean,
Al said when we go to Vegas, we have to go there. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, let's go. Number 4.
Number 4, I'm going to offend a lot of people in the audience, but I love it. Very overrated. You get on your plane, you fly down to the swamp of Florida, you go to the Mouse's Kingdom and wait in line for fucking 4 hours a pop at a ride, sweating your balls off. Going to Disney, overrated. I'm thinking theme parks in general, just like the Universal Studios, Disney's, any theme park where you have to wait multiple hours with children screaming all around you to get on a roller coaster that only lasts 2 minutes. I'm out on that, man. It's overrated.
I mean, you could have just said amusement parks, but even if you said amusement parks, I wouldn't have looped Disney in with them because Disney is the mecca. Like that I can't believe you just said that. That's essentially Old Trafford for English.
A ticket too.
I get that, but like, wow, that's a hot take for you to say that Disney is overrated.
Disney, I mean,
it's definitely overpriced. But I mean, it's the experience. Remember, it's the wonders of it all. Like, you know, that's where I'm going to Disneyland. It's not for you. It's for the little ones. So yeah, I can see you being overrated for your old ass, but it ain't overrated for the 6 to 12-year-olds.
You're walking 3 miles, pouring sweat in the Florida humidity with children screaming and crying. And I want this. I want. No, thank you.
Just know that when we go, I'm going to enjoy the shit out of it. And I don't care if we go 5 times. I'm going to have a shit-eating grin, ear to ear, smiling, hoping that the girls have a wonderful time.
Overrated. Number 3. This is a random one, but I'm like, I see people doing there's these things all around the year, all around the calendar. People always go to them. And I'm like, for what? Parades. You just sit there and watch cars go by. I might as well go to the goddamn intersection right now and just sit with a lawn chair and watch cars pass you. Parades make no sense to me. Maybe there's a band sometimes, but you're just sitting on a chair, mostly standing, and just watching cars drive by you for a half an hour. Overrated. Why even? What are you doing, people?
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm with you on the parades. I've been in a few of them myself, just from like sports and whatnot, and it's annoying. So yeah, I can agree with you on that one. I'm with you.
You know what? They can get over themselves. Macy's, get over yourself. All right. No one watches your. It's all 80+ people who watch your Thanksgiving Day parade. Get over yourself.
I'm surprised the Rose Bowl still has a parade. That's so strange.
Get over yourself, Rose Bowl. Number 2, this one might be you might hate this one. Number 2, pub crawls. You're spending $100 to go from bar to bar, pay overpriced drinks, and just be hungover and drunk all day. I don't understand. I would rather just go to one bar and have a good time, hang out with friends. I don't understand the pub crawl allure. You're spending a ton of money, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
Well, the Boston pub crawl is annoying because you pay a cover for each pub that you go to, even if you have whatever promotion going on where you spend $100 and like everybody gets this, use the same bus or whatever you go to it. But like at the door, the bouncer's like, "Hey man, that'll be $20." Like, wait a minute, brother. That's 2 beers. No, that's actually only 1 beer, but $20. It's like, damn, man. So yes, pub crawls. Miss me with those. Well, I mean, I think we're just getting older. But if you're, 21, 22 years old, people are like, "Oh, I love it. Now let's go to the Harp. Let's go to the greatest bar."
My number 1 was what inspired this list. I'm very excited.
We get the drum roll for you.
The most overrated activity in the entire world: fireworks. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. It's I'm sitting there trying to go to bed, trying to put my child to bed the other night. Fucking fireworks show down the road. And I'm like, I've seen so many goddamn fireworks shows in my life. They're all the same. Why do people still gather in hordes to just stare up at the sky for 15 minutes? And half of these motherfuckers are on their phone recording it for no goddamn reason. You're never going to watch the goddamn video. Nobody cares about your stupid ass fireworks show. We've all seen the same goddamn fireworks. Enough with fireworks. And first of all, boring as hell to go to. Second of all, stop blowing your goddamn hands off, people. You're not professionals, and they're causing fires. All right, enough with fireworks. Can we just be done with this?
I mean, I'm agreeing with you on that one. It's not my number 1. If I had a number 1, I can only think of a couple. Because like you said some things that made me think of it. The fireworks are definitely. So it was about 10 years ago when I was part of that. Oh, look at the fireworks. Let me send them a Snapchat. And then like I think it just hit me, and I was like, I'm never gonna go back to my photo album and watch 20 minutes worth. Let me just delete this. And then like after that, I was like, I'm kind of over fireworks. So like, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I can't say it's my number 1, but it's definitely up there when it comes to things that just are highly overrated. Great list.
And you got anything else for to throw in there?
Yeah, I got 3 quick ones, just from top to bottom, and I would say my number 1, just because I only got 3. First one, at least, number 3 being live bands. Not really.
Whoa! Like live music?
Yeah, live music. Yeah, I don't care for it. I think it's overrated because it's all covers. Not only is it all covers, none of it is original to your own music.
You're not speaking of like going to see an actual artist. You're talking about like a band at a bar.
Yes. I'm not talking about like going to a concert. I'm saying like I pull up to Applebee's and it's live band night, and they're playing some cover of some chick that left them from a movie from like Seventh Wonders of the World. I'm like, I don't want to hear this. If I wanted to listen to this song, like I'd go on Apple Music, but like I gotta listen to you play this shitty ass song, terrible because you can't play music.
Well,
you can't
Applebee's.
Well, hey, shout out to Applebee's. Big plug for that one. Number 2, again from 3 up, we'll say down to 2. Breweries.
I'm not following on this list, my man.
So not a fan of them. I don't like going to. I think they're overrated because you go to it, it's usually just a random mixture of beers that nobody else wants because they just order the same shit. Whatever has the most hops, I'll order that. Whatever was the thickest, I'll order that. But there's 100 fucking beers to choose from, and nobody chooses any of. They just choose the most popular one.
Well, I think you're going to the wrong breweries, man. Because like you gotta go to a brewery that has most of them have live music, so that's obviously
There we go. See how it's all clinging together.
But like they have games. They usually have like these cool tasters. You can have like 10 different beers and try a whole bunch of shit. Like breweries are a good time, man.
Overrated. Overrated.
Oh, okay.
Again, my list, not yours. And this one, I know I gave a little hint for you, and most people be like, Darian or Frizz, really? Yeah, man. I think one of the most overrated activities in the world is the NFL draft. Like, we talk about the draft for fucking months, right? We talk about it for all these rookie quarterbacks or top end offensive linemen for months for people to pay attention to the first 5 to 10 picks. And then it's an extravaganza for another week. Like, it's just annoying. Like, just I wish it was all just one day. Get the whole draft over with in a day. We don't need to make it this whole week-long experience. I know the NFL is doing any and everything to make it so that they have something going on every single month of the year. The draft is just a drag. It's annoying. It's overrated. Like, I can watch it on TV and experience the same shit that I could if I was in Nashville, Tennessee.
I feel like that's super unpopular.
I'm with
you though, man. Who are the sickos watching day 2 and 3 on their TV?
A lot of random ass motherfuckers, will tell you that.
Get a life and stop watching fireworks. All right, we're gonna wrap up our sports coverage for the day. Just a quick game of stay or go. I should have had the music from I think it's the Clash. You know, like should I stay or should I go? You familiar with that song?
I know a song, yeah.
If I was a little more prepared, I would have had that. But I'm a bad producer. Yeah, I think we just want to rat-a-tat-tat because free agency starts Friday. Our opinions on some players: are they going to stay with their original team or are they going to peace out? We'll go back and forth. I'm going to give you a juicy one to start with.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving with the Mavs, staying or going?
I'm going to say stay. If this were 4 months ago, mid-season, when they just missed the playoffs, I would have said 100% go. But I think he's going to stay because the money's there, and I think he's just going to try to get as much bread as he possibly can.
Yeah, Mavs can offer him the most money. I think their backs against the wall. They'll do it. He'll stay. You got one for me?
I had mentioned it in the pre-show. I'm going to go with Kyle Kuzma.
Ooh, that's such a tough one because I could see both ways because the Wiz needs some sort of
another player.
Assets. They need assets, and he fills that role. But they're rebuilding. I'm gonna say stay.
Okay. They got bird rights too, so they can overextend. I don't know how because he's only been there for 3 seasons.
I don't know who they're gonna sign to. Like, I guess the new CBA has a minimum. Like, you have to spend up to 10%. Interesting fact I didn't tell you. Yes, the new CBA has a minimum where teams have to spend within 10% of the cap, which means teams like the Spurs and Houston might overpay players like crazy because they're like $40 million to that threshold right now. So they have to spend that money. Which
huge.
So I think with that being said, Kuzma stays. All right, for you, I'm curious. I want to go to your team really quick to give you a couple fun ones.
Okay.
I'm going to give you back-to-back. I want you to have both of them. Rui Hachimura.
Stays. Yep.
Just because
he's going to stay because he proved that he could be the wing defender that they need. He's got decent shot making ability. He proved that he could hit shots from the outside too, not just the mid range, but like from 3-point range. And he played great defense in the playoffs.
Think they'll pay him what he wants? Is my question.
I think he'll take less than what the players' union would want him to because he's got a chance to win a championship next season.
Okay, I don't think he's been paid.
No, I'm saying whatever. Like if he's supposed to get 20 to 25, I think he'd take 18.
Oh, what I'm saying is like I don't think he's gotten that payday yet. So I'd be surprised if he took a pay cut before getting that bread. D'Angelo Russell, stay or go?
Go.
What do you think do with that money?
I mean, I don't know if you're going to ask it later, but there is a potential free agent point guard that I would love for them to go after.
Fred VanVleet,
that's number one.
That wasn't on my list, but I'll give that one to you. Fred VanVleet, go.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I just think that they're just not going to be able to keep him. It could be money, but he also probably wants to go win, and I don't think he's winning in Toronto. But when it comes to Russell, we saw the Jordan Poole effect in LA for him. He just lost. He lost himself out of the rotation. Very inefficient on offense. Good regular season, but postseason very inefficient. And then he was not able to play defense at all. And they brought in a defensive-minded coach, so like they gotta do so. He's got to do something.
Yeah, I just wonder if with D'Lo, if free agency doesn't break the way they want, and they can't find a sign and trade partner, they're not just going to let that money expire. So they might be forced in a corner. All right, you got one for me?
I did. My apologies. Let me pull this one. This is a good one because it's a setup. It's a setup for next season. Draymond Green.
My instinct says he's going to stay, right? Just because it makes sense. They moved off a Poole. He's so valuable to that team, Draymond Green. But like, there's
the caveat is next year. That's the problem.
There's some weird shit going on all around the NBA, and Windhorst even did the "Why is that?" with the Sacramento Kings. They on draft night they had a very interesting move to trade away. Who was that big that they had? Now I'm drawing a blank. I think he was drafted top 5. He got traded away on draft night. They opened up like $30 million in cap room.
Bagley?
Yeah, Marvin Bagley III. They traded away him on draft night with the pick to the Mavericks to open up cap space. Why is that? So, and Mike Brown was the assistant coach with the Warriors. So it's like, man, it makes sense that he's going to stay. It's with Draymond Green. I think his market's going to be way hotter than people think. Like he's going to get paid this offseason, man. Mm-hmm. People are going to be surprised.
People don't. I said it. I was like, sometimes you wish to have, poor people, rich people problems. Like we don't all just get to turn down $25 million. Like that's a crazy problem to have for him. But I was saying it's a setup for next season because of not just Clay. It's a big name that's going to be flirted out there, and the boy plays in Milwaukee for all this cap clearing that every team is doing. I'm telling you, like that, somebody's not going to stick around if they don't have to. He did what he was supposed to get, which was a championship for the team he drafted. Now he wants to go out there and just get as many wins as he possibly can. I'm telling you, it's going to come up next season.
Speaking of Milwaukee, my next one for you, Chris.
I got this one. Yeah, so they have to re-sign him because go ahead, you get the sound. They have to because what it does for Giannis. If they do not bring back Middleton, you could kiss his ass goodbye. He says it. It's written all over him mentality wise. I know this is Giannis' point where you said about Middleton, but if Giannis thinks that they're not going to take care of him, he's going to look back and be like, I did everything for your team. I wanted to win a championship for your team. I wanted to win MVPs. I wanted to get this franchise as much money as possible. I did that. You guys don't want to build around me? I'm out. And he's not going to sit there and wait, right? He's going to go get his. So yes, I think they have to because it's going to keep Giannis.
I agree with that one. One more for you before we move off. Should I give you the fun one?
Go ahead.
James Harden.
Ooh. So again, a month ago, this was a go, but I think, you know what, make it spicy. I think he goes.
You think James Harden leaves where?
Yeah, so I know that there was talk of him going back to Houston. That has kind of fizzled out. But I also see, even with bringing in the new coach, James Harden saying, look, I've tried to do it as the 1A. I've tried to do it as the 1B. I want to get my money and go back to being the 1A and not be with Embiid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That would be just disaster for the 76ers if which I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for chaos.
I mean, hey, he got his MVP. They still got Tyrese Maxey if they need an actual point guard and whatnot. So it's not like they'd be losing much. 5 points per game in 3 games in the Eastern Conference Finals last season. Like, you're not missing much. We'll tell you that.
Do you have one you want to give to me for the last one? Because I have one I kind of want to answer.
there's not really big names after we get to like the 5 guys. I guess I'll just throw this one there because it's somebody that you had to deal with when he was in Orlando, but Nikola Vucevic.
Oof, I think it's going to be a mistake for the Bulls, but I think they have no choice but to re-sign him. I think he stays. I think he's going to make somewhere with like I think it's going to be like a 3-year, $65 million contract, which is fine. Like I know Vucevic, like he's fun to watch scoring low post, like but his 3-point shooting's gone to shit, and he's been an awful defender his whole career. And that was a huge problem with the Bulls in the past couple of years. But like if he walks, the Bulls have so much money tied up in their big name guys. You're gonna sign him, right? And if it goes to shit this year, you just trade him away or you try to move his contract. The one I wanted to say also was I've heard some crazy shit about Max Strus. Like I've heard that you shouldn't be surprised if Max Strus ends up by getting like a $15 million a year contract, which is insane. Like mid-level or a little above the mid-level exception. I think there's going to be like a lot of demand for Max Strus, just because like he had a bad post. He's a proven shooter who can guard a little bit, and shooting's at a premium right now in the NBA. I think he leaves Miami, and I think Duncan Robinson steps back into that starting role after what he's proven. Where Max Strus ends up, I don't know. One that I found to be curious, and I don't love it, was someone had mentioned, Zach Lowe mentioned, Orlando would be an interesting spot for Max Strus because like we need shooting desperately when we have cap room, so maybe they overpay for Max Strus. I wouldn't love that, but I think
state tax in Florida.
No state tax, no.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like he'd be. That's what I'm saying. It's not like he'd be losing out on much money. Like if he goes to, we'll say Boston. Not saying he's going to Boston, but like if he goes to Boston, like he gets taxed, 65% of that shit.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Brook Lopez. I have no idea. That's an interesting one. I guess there might be a market for him.
That's not a needle mover for me, though. Like I said, I don't think Giannis is pending his relationship with Milwaukee based off of Brook Lopez or even Drew Holiday. I think it's Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Well, Friday, man. I'm excited for Friday and all the Woj bombs.
Absolutely.
You ready to do this, my man?
Let's get it.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment, 2 takes. Now go.
That's right. We appreciate you guys sticking with us through this hour and 15 minutes so far slog through the show. Appreciate you watching live and also listening on podcast. Much love. We made it to closing takes. We can kind of ISO wherever we want this last segment. I have 2 things. Is that okay if I got 2 today?
Do your thing.
1 sports, 1 not sports. I wanted to mention this story that I saw almost a month ago now. It's a story from The Guardian that came out on June 4th. I want to get your reaction to the story. All right. So there is a traffic cop in Staten Island, New York. His name is Matthew Bianchi, and he's suing the police department of the NYPD. Now, the reason why he's suing, and I'm getting all the details, is basically he's a traffic cop. He pulls people over for speeding, running red lights, stop signs, that sort of thing. Apparently, I don't know if this is a thing everywhere, but New York City Police Department, they have their union members have these cards that they can hand out to families and friends. And basically, you get pulled over. The little word on the street is you just kind of show the officer your card, hand the card over with your ID, and the cop's supposed to kind of, turn the cheek and just say as a warning, let you off. Well, this guy basically is like, hey, I've been pulling over mad people, and almost everyone has these cards, and these people are acting reckless as hell. So basically, he started to ignore the card and give people tickets anyways, because like he's like, hey man, I'm a cop, like I'm supposed to be doing a job. This isn't supposed to be how this works. He basically, this is a get out of jail free card. He felt that they were corrupt, and so some of the things that happened, I'm trying to read some of the quotes here. but he started to give people tickets. The complaints came in, and one of his commanders told him like things like, "Hey, is it better to be right or better to be on patrol?" Basically saying, "Hey, you either cut the shit or you're going to be demoted." The police union told him they weren't going to defend him on this, so his union did not back him up.
Oh my goodness.
He got demoted and removed as a patrol officer for this. Basically.
Go and get your money.
Now he's suing the police department for violating his First Amendment right.
Damn. I mean, hey, NYPD, they can afford it. They got one of the highest payrolls in the country when it comes to police department, especially when it comes to the amount of people that work for that force.
An interesting caveat to this story is that he said basically because of the makeup of the police department, and this guy is Cuban, but basically because of the makeup of the police department, basically says police officers are forced to disproportionately ticket minority drivers. Guess who's getting all the get out of jail free cards?
All the white people.
Yeah, buddy. So yeah, it was a huge story. I feel like he's gonna win this case.
Got to. If there's this much evidence for it, I mean, if that's a real thing where these people have, lack of a better term, get out of jail free cards, like, yeah, man, like that's crazy. That's the world, that's the country we live in, man. Where like the rich get richer, and the people that have, the ins and outs for, I would say, businesses like this,
push them down.
Yeah.
Let me hit that music back. What am I doing? It only lasts for so long.
Well, we've been running for a goddamn minute, man. Hurry up.
All right, last thing. My second one is I wanted to bring up a baseball thing because
of course. Is it going to be the A's?
No. Cool. Another sad story in baseball. Are you familiar with Alek Manoah?
No.
Blue Jays pitcher. He finished as a finalist last year for the Cy Young. He was an all-star last year. He was really good last year. And he got off to an awful start this season. And the Blue Jays ended up by sending him to the minor leagues to kind of like rework his whole mechanics and like start from scratch. He was just like in a training facility in Florida. They sent him to Florida from Toronto to rebuild his entire pitching mechanics. He's been there for like a month and a half now, and they put him in a game against like the lowest level of baseball. It's what is it called? What league is it? The FCL, which is the Florida Complex League, so it's like below Single A. He was a finalist for the Cy Young last year. He gave up 11 runs against a team full of 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. Have you ever heard of like, this is like Ben Simmons level of like fall from grace. Like this is
sad.
Yeah.
That's like him going back to an AAU game and getting dropped off.
Yes. Yeah. It's basically like an NBA player going to AAU or like going to like I don't know if a Drew League might even be.
Drew League's pretty good.
Going to like a good Y League in a city, I guess, and like getting shit on at the Y League.
Yuck. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Feel for the guy. Don't feel for him because he's a professional, but
it reminds me a little bit of Markelle Fultz. What happened to him?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, he's reliving his career though. He's doing what he can. I got a quick one. It's not sports related, but it's actually a quick note too because you mentioned baseball. Shout outs to the unfortunate anniversary of Armando Galarraga. I think it was like this past week where he had the perfect game ruined by that first base call that out that wasn't an out.
Yes.
You remember that? Yeah. So a big shout to him because of just his reaction. I just remember him doing this. Like that was it. Like he didn't flip out. He didn't get pissed. He was just like, oh no. And then like he could have been like in baseball history. And then unfortunately now he goes down as not having a footnote in his career. But that wasn't my big thing. Mine was actually non-sports related and it is involving Kick. Have you ever heard of Kick?
No.
Cool. It is actually a new streaming platform that is starting to raise a lot of people's eyebrows. It's starting to get up there when it comes to Twitch and YouTube for, I would say, people that are looking to get paid to play on that platform. I don't know if you're familiar with his name, Dr. Disrespectful, but he is a big streamer for video games. And he basically was just like, look, if you want me, this is how much money is in video games. It's like, if you want me to stream on your platform, $50 million. And like, he has the ability to get that. So it's just crazy that video games are at an area where like a platform can come up out of nowhere. I'm not on Kick. I'm not saying that we're going to switch to it by any means. It's just crazy that like video games aren't going anywhere, where like this platform can come up and then some guy that makes a shit ton of money is like, give me $50 million and I'll stream. And they'd go, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll give you $50 million. Like, that's just unbelievable to me.
He's the mustache guy, right?
Yeah. Yep. Mustache, vest, and glasses.
What a get up. Did something happen with that dude? I remember there's some controversy where he got kicked off of like YouTube or some shit.
I think I got kicked off of Call of Duty. I don't know what or why, but same thing. Like a lot of people trying to go at Nick Merckx right now because of something that he said about the LGBTQ community. Like,
I don't know who that is.
Sorry, another streamer. A lot of my geekness comes out because I'm a big fan of video games and whatnot. But yeah, streaming is crazy. There's a lot of money behind it. We do what we can while we're here, going live for y'all Tuesday nights, and then you can hear us again on Wednesday mornings.
You still doing 2K League?
Yeah, it's the finals. I'm actually watching it as we're doing our show.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, thank you for joining us all today. I appreciate you guys listening and watching live. Much love as always. D, why don't you get the people out of here, right?
Yes, sir. We'll try to do better next week. Try to get y'all back to y'all day.
Better. I thought we were pretty good.
Timing wise, bro. It's 9:30. I think we did a really good job though with what we were able to talk about. I'll talk about it's 9:32 on the East Coast on Tuesday, June 27th. It's gonna be July, but as we say every time that go ahead.
No, I said we got to talk afterwards what we're going to do about July 4th.
All right, cool. As we say when we're heading up out of here, please, y'all make sure to hit us up on all of our socials. You can hit us up on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on not Instagram or TikTok yet. We don't do the tickety-talkies. We don't have OnlyFans. Don't listen to Trudeau. But you can also go to our website. It's an incredible website that we're trying to get better. We'll actually have some merchandise in the future at some point. www.frizzandthegrizz.com. But anytime we do wrap this thing up, please, y'all lovely people, take care of y'all mentals. Make sure y'all take care of y'all physicals. Make sure y'all take care of y'all chicken. Take care of y'all children. And we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.
They got a website that you can hire girlfriends for the day.